Ciao ragazzi, eccoci stasera con una nuova chiacchierata per fare la conoscenza con un altro dei protagonisti della prossima Red Bull XAlps 2025. Attesissima 12ª edizione della più appassionante gara di I Can Fly al mondo. Quest'anno FIVL con i suoi canali e con il sottoscritto è stata invitata formalmente e accreditata come media press nella competizione. Quindi saremo presenti nei giorni preparatori allo start, durante la gara e poi durante lo svolgimento saremo di nuovo live con i teams, i piloti, gli organizzatori che man mano avranno modo di collegarsi con noi. Ok, siamo pronti? Questa sera non indugiamo oltre, siamo pronti per parlare con...
I'm James Elliot, the first Canadian to have ever completed the XAlps as a rookie in the last edition, and I am very excited to be coming back in 2025.
Ciao ragazzi, eccoci qui adesso con James Elliot, Team Canada 1, è alla sua seconda edizione, ha già partecipato 2 anni fa. Chiudendo la gara è arrivato veramente sul fil di lana, quasi alla fine del tempo massimo, però ce l'ha fatta, quindi veramente un atleta eccezionale. Thank you, James. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much, Rinaldo. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm fascinated. It's amazing to be participating in this race again, and it's great to have an Italian audience.
Right, thanks. So, before to start to talk about this edition, how was your last edition? I remember you arrived really at the end, and I remember you were doing a very long walking path on the last day, more than 50 kilometers, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, that's right. The last day was, I believe, about 65 kilometers and over 3,000 meters vertical. The weather, unfortunately, got a little bit challenging for those of us who were coming in at the last days of the race, but I finished pretty well overall. It was a pleasure to be the first Canadian ever to finish this race, and I was healthy, uninjured, and overall really happy with the performance of our team. So, yeah, overall very happy with the last race.
Right. So now this year, coming back to, let's say, gain a little better position.
That's right. My main goal for this race in 2025 is actually to try to improve. There's lots of areas where we can improve and optimize based on our 2023 experience. So yeah, that's the main goal, is to do a little bit better this year.
Yes, right. So, James, which kind of training are you following now to be prepared for the race?
Yeah, so my training is basically an extension of my kind of overall lifestyle in general, which has always been very physically active. But now, over these last few years, I've been focused mostly on endurance training, specifically for hike and fly racing. And right now I'm in a volume phase, or like a building phase for that endurance. So it's a lot of trail running, a lot of hiking, a lot of road running, and some cross training, like circuit training in the gym, strength, and also cycling. So it's just really building up that aerobic base for me, hours and hours and hours every week. And I'll be building this phase until basically the last couple weeks before the race, when you start to taper off and let your body rest until to fully prepare for the race itself.
Right. So we know that the Red Bull XAlps, it's a pilot race, but also it's a team race, because the teams are so important for the pilots. Are you going to have the same team as last time, or did you change something? How is your team this time?
Yes, I'll have one member from my race in 2023 with me again, Norm Kirschmar. Unfortunately, my main supporter from 2023 passed away in a paragliding accident, so our thoughts are with him. I wish he could be here. And I have two other new supporters that will be joining us, and I should mention Jonathan Cleomau was my main supporter in the last race. So a bit of a mix-up from the prior race, but I'm very confident in my team this time as well. They're experienced pilots, which is really important for me as an athlete. And yeah, I would attribute so much of my success in the last race and going into 2025, I'm sure as well, will be due to my amazing support team. So it's absolutely critical to have, yeah, key supporters.
Right. So, James, what do you think about the route this year? Longer than the last one, and also the fact that it's crossing the Alps up and down 4 times. How do you see it?
Yeah, it's going to be very challenging this year. I'm really hoping that we have decent weather, because these main alpine ridge crossings, if the weather is not flyable on the days that you are going to be crossing these key passes, these high ridges, it adds so much time. So, all we can do is cross our fingers and hope that the weather is good. In 2023, it was flyable weather. I wouldn't say it was good weather, especially towards the end, but it was
Yeah.
certainly flyable by XAlps standards. So, right off the bat, we are going due south from Kitzbühel, and we have a 80-kilometer or so leg down into Sexton, and that is going to be, again, day one, probably a big separator for the whole field. If pilots aren't able to cross that main ridge efficiently by flying, they're going to be stuck on the ground. It's going to be a very long and high hike up and over to get into Sexton. And of course, we have there's the X turn point in St. Moritz now, so that'll be very interesting, and another crossing there. At Ladue Alps, it's not too bad, for a main ridge crossing, because it's quite far southwest. But then, of course, there's the very long legs back through northern Italy, which is kind of an area I'm familiar with and love flying in. So I'm excited for that. But overall, the extra length is an added challenge compared to last year. But the multiple ridge crossings is really where the main challenge comes from for 2025.
Right. And also, I see that there are a lot of places where pilots have to land and then hike up again, because the turn point, let's say, the signature is going to be down in the villages. So I believe this also, and also the free Via Ferrata, that will probably sometimes stop a little bit at the race if you arrive there and maybe it's a very good flying condition, and then you have to do the ferrata, and the other pilot it's just gone away. You can get a very big advantage because you are stuck at the ferrata. So it's gonna be really a strategic race this year.
Yeah, definitely. There's nothing like being in the middle of the day, having a good flight, and then having to land. So
Yeah.
it can certainly add a lot of time and really slow down your progress. But it's really just about timing. So, if you can tag these turn points on the ground that you need to, and then ideally have an early morning launch and get up and try to fly as far as you can. Again, that day, that's the best strategy, but you can't always control that. It depends on what time you're going to be tagging these turn points on the ground. So the key things are just hiking fast, getting up and out of those turn points as soon as possible, and yeah, just maintaining that strong body. So when you're on the ground, you can get back up in the air as quickly as possible.
Yes, sure. James, tell me something. Who is your mentor? Do you have somebody that you look at, maybe also in the past, that was teaching you, or?
Yeah, I have many mentors. I think, in Canada, the paragliding community is a lot smaller than it is in Europe, of course. But where I'm from, near Vancouver, we have one of the biggest pilot populations in Canada, and I'm very fortunate to be part of the West Coast Soaring Club, which is a fantastic community that we have here on the west coast of Canada. And within that club, I've made so many connections, so many, learned so much from the knowledge passed down. I started a mentorship program actually for the Soaring Club many years ago, And that was just a good excuse to reach out to so many experienced pilots when I was still in that intermediate phase and wanting to take the next level. But there's so many pilots that I've learned so much from. It's hard to name them all, but a couple of key people are Alex Raymond, Peter Spear, Igor Tolsky. These guys are legends in Canada, and I've had the fortune to fly with them on many occasions, and just learned so much from them.
Right. Good. Very nice to hear this. So going back to the race, how, for sure it depends how weather will be and so on. But after having done already one race 2 years ago, which kind of strategy do you believe you will be following? You will try to push away right away, or to stay a little bit back and save your energy, and then try to make it at the end? So which kind of strategy are you trying to follow?
Yeah, I think it's really just an evolution of the same strategy I had in 2023, which is trying to trying to keep some reserves. There's not much point for me to push so hard right at the very beginning. I find that in the XAlps and even the XPIR and these other hike and fly races that last many days, so much can change throughout the race, and often people who push too hard at the beginning, you have an injury, you make a mistake, and that ultimately works against you. So my saying is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And that's one of those things where it's like you have to sit down, think about your strategy, at key decision points throughout the race. Take that time, even if it's an extra few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes on the ground. That's better to come up with that good strategy that you're confident in order to move forward than to just rush forward. So that's kind of the logical part. But then there's the physical part, which is, for me as an endurance athlete, I still have to pull myself back a little bit. 12 days is a very long time. If you're doing a marathon every single day, it's tough to maintain. So a little bit slower is, I think, ultimately faster and leads to a better chance of finishing the race overall.
Right. James, you are a professional pilot, or you are doing something else apart paragliding?
No, I work in business and finance for my day job, but paragliding is definitely my passion. My head is in the clouds, most of the time. So unfortunately in Canada, it's tough to be a professional pilot for a career. It would be nice, but maybe one day.
Right. Okay. So also one question that I ask to all the pilots. We talk about some kind of magic moment in flying. It can be maybe a sunset or flying somewhere on the sea or on something on a special place. So which is your magic moment in paragliding?
I've had so many of those. Not every flight, but almost every flight is magical for me. We're very fortunate here in Canada to have a very beautiful place to fly. It's around an area called Pemberton, and I've had many big flights around there, including one that stands out is just landing around 9 p.m. at night after a big cross-country triangle across terrain that is very similar to the Alps in topography, but very remote. There's nobody that lives around there. So you're very isolated, but a final glide coming into Pemberton at 9 p.m. at night after a big triangle with the sun setting and the shadows in the mountains, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I remember 2 years ago we were eating together. Do you remember during the pilot's evening? I was at your table. Yes, with all your
very
team.
much so. Yeah.
And they were telling me something very special of your flying area is that maybe you crossed 2 or 3 valley, which in flying it's maybe 1 hour flight. But if you land there for some reason, it can be very dangerous too, because there are animals, there are nobody around for kilometers and kilometers. So it's really something special. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very remote. You know, the mountains are beautiful, but everybody basically flies with a tree kit, and you should have like some extra food and basically like a vol-biv kit, essentially, even for some of the smaller cross-country flights, because if you do land out, it's a good chance it's going to take you a very long time to walk out.
To walk. Right. Okay, so James, thanks very much for this interview. We will see you at the start. I will be there too in Kitzbühel. Now it's really a little bit more than 1 month, and so all the best for the race, and for sure we will see you at the starting line.
Thanks so much, Rinaldo. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, thank you again. Bye.
Ciao.